The recently conducted primaries of the governing All Progressives Congress has left the deep-seated divisions within the rank and file of the party, with analysts debating how this will affect its fighting power ahead of the 2019 elections.
Absolutely. Now, while some party members are venting their anger at state governors through street protests, others are warning the party's leadership of dire consequences should things not go their way. Correspondent Abida Lawal gives us the rest of the report.
I've seen banner headlines, people calling me, there is a crisis in APC, that my office is under threat, some powerful peace persons are very angry and all that. I just want to say that this is my finest hour.
This has been the mood of the party at different state level before and after it conducted primaries. The pre- and post-primaries crisis of the APC is gradually taking the shape of a crisis that is threatening its unity and prospects in the forthcoming polls. Governors, senators, House of Representatives members and party stalwarts are angry that they were not rewarded for their loyalty to the party. The states where there are cases of contention are Zamfara, Imo, Ogun, Adamawa, Kwara, and Kaduna states.
When the results started coming out, and maybe the committee think the result is not actually what they want, so they decided to say they cancel the election. But I realized there's a game that is being played so that we can run out of time, and then maybe the national party can think they have other way to produce a candidate, which is a crude way, because Section 87 is very clear of the act that the party must do a process before producing any candidate. I think for any other person to come under the roof of National Secretariat and say he's going to nominate a candidate, I think is a very, very huge joke.
From the point of view of our leader,
the man at the center of the storm, national chairman of the party, Adams Oshiomhole, has been accused of working against the interest of the party, an accusation he denies.
Very encouraged by the level of participation in our primaries. And of course, the more open, the more democratic a process is. Once you uphold the rule, it has its own consequences. But it is not correct to suggest that there is a move. Yes, one governor has publicly said he will ensure that I'm removed. That is fine. The beauty of democracy is any one or two could say something, but the majority is what matters.
Others have also accused the state governors of ganging up against the re-election of President Muhammadu Buhari.
Governor Akeredolu of Ondo State has determined to fight three personalities in APC: President Buhari, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and Adam Oshiomhole. Mr. Governor of Ondo State is not happy with all the strategies by APC National Working Committee to unite the party with a view to bring democracy to doorstep of party member by the introduction and adoption of direct primary for all elections.
Governors are trying to intimidate, to say how one way or the other that what Oshiomhole is doing to become afraid. Today, we are here to tell the people that the Nigerian people and the entire APC member are solidly behind Adams Oshiomhole.
It is now imperative more than ever before for the party to quickly nip in the bud the issues cropping up within, as it is significantly threatening its overall fighting power in 2019. Abida Lawal, TVC News, Abuja.
All right, of course, we still have Ayodele Dio, Gloom Television Managing Editor, in the studios here with us. Thank you very much indeed for staying with us still.
Thank you.
Well, let me start by asking, is there a sense in which Oshiomhole's earlier approach, what you may see as cantankerous or bullish approach, has contributed to what we're seeing at the moment in the party?
Well, I mean, it clearly tells you that labor tactics are different from political tactics. The bullish approach, might work, when you're leading a labor organization, but when you're leading politicians who see, they see themselves as equals, you know, with you. That might not necessarily work in that regard. You will need a lot of guile, a lot of skill. You're bullish when you need to be bullish. You need to pull people to your side when you need to. It's a difficult job, I must admit, when you have to deal with politicians, with governors, with ministers, with senators who have egos all over the place. You know, so you always have to be the adult in the room and never attempt to throw away the baby, you know, with the bathwater. So it's a difficult job, I must admit, a really difficult job.
Let's just make some sense of what Adams Oshomole's offense is. This man, who is the chairman of the APC, gave the state's executives, the state APCs across the country, the, you know, the prerogative to decide the kind of system they would adopt for their primary elections.
Yes.
And they did. And now governors, some other aggrieved aspirants are coming out to say that they do not like his style because he's trying to democratize the way the APC is being run. Is that the offense?
Well, no, first of all, my thinking is what principally, one of the key objectives of Comrade Adams Oshomole was, first of all, to protect the president in the National Assembly. And to do that, he wanted a situation where the senators in the National Assembly or the members in the House of Representatives got back into the Senate, you know, and the green chambers of the House. So if they got back in, they would definitely do the party's bidding, and they will ensure, you know, that they protect the president, and of course, you know, quite frankly, make sure that they have an APC Senate president in an APC-dominated National Assembly. So I guess that was his initial thinking. And so he wanted a situation where some of those senators will be giving a rite of passage back into the red and the green chambers. So his intentions were good, but he didn't realize that he was going to be crossing setting egos. So governors who wanted to go, who had finished their second term, who wanted
some
to
of
go,
those lawmakers out
and wanted to go back to the Senate. Some governors who were aggrieved with some of their senators already in the Senate, and all of that. So it was quite a topsy-turvy situation, and there was no way you were going to have your way when egos were being thrown around. So the logical and the best thing to have done, which I have argued consistently, was to allow a level playing field where if you lost, I mean, if you watched the PDP convention, you know, where votes were counted and of course Alhaji Atiku emerged, if you lost in that election, it was hard for you to argue against it. So what
because of the transparent nature of it.
It was clear. So what they needed to have done was to create a level playing field, as transparent as possible, and whoever wins, wins. Whoever loses, loses, you know. Because here's this funny thing. I'm yet to see a political godson in Nigeria where a governor installed maybe his deputy or whoever to succeed him. I'm yet to see anyone who was loyal after 2 years. They all go back to bite the finger that supposedly fit them or to become sworn enemies with their benefactors. So why these governors continue to insist on installing people, I just don't get it. Because these people never remain loyal. The examples are everywhere. So why put yourself in that situation when you know, I mean, clearly from track record that these people are not going to stay loyal? So if you've done your term, put out a transparent process.
But would you blame the, Adams Oshomole? Because the party was somehow already mired in so many drama and crisis before he even assumed authority. You know, polarized in more than 20 states at least, you know, and so he had a tough job of uniting the members, conducting the convention, you know, doing so many things, and then the primary as well. So like you're saying that he too somehow became favorable to some members while, you know, thinking it was a good strategy for the party. Now, APC in Zamfara, APC in Rivers are going to pay a tough price. They're still battling to have candidates and all that. So how do you think they are going to achieve this? Because Adams Oshomole says that it's the minority conservative members of the party that even want him out in the first place.
Well, first of all, like you rightfully said, it's cost them Zamfara, and it's likely going to cost them Rivers State. Been an issue that could have been handled or dealt with better within the party. Again, like you rightfully reiterated, it's a tough job to come into a political party with divergence of views, you know, with different interests, with big wigs in the party, and to put them together you know, in one ship and sail, you know, to El Dorado. It's a tough job to do, most especially when you have created a political system where people are not loyal to the books, to procedure, to processes, and to systems. We have created a political class who like to get things done through the back door, who don't follow procedure and processes. So for you to come in and straighten out that process becomes a really difficult job to do in the space of 6-7 months. I mean, people are used to getting their way. You know, governors, when they want something, are used to getting their way. So who's the national party chairman that's going to tell you what to do in your own state? So it was a difficult job from the get-go, and I thought, I would have expected that he would have been a little less bullish from the onset and not taking the bull by the horn.
All right, thank you for your analysis. Ayodele Adio, Bloom TV editor and public affairs commentator. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.